All right, so we are nearing the end of the titration. There's just one more thing I need to teach you guys, but before we move on, I do want to kind of recap what I'm looking for A, B, C, and then D once we cover D today. I've done a quick poll because I want to get an idea of what you guys are still struggling with so I can guide you on what you need to do. Whatever you guys are feeling the least confident with is what you should be studying first, so that way you guys are utilizing your time wisely and not wasting time on things you already feel confident with. The other reason why I wanted to kind of look over the whole assessment again is because for Part D, you will be revisiting Part A. So that's why I also want to talk about it as well. So just as a reminder, for Part A, let me pull up actually the lesson on that. Oh, my little clickies aren't there. I must have deleted by accident. Let's go there. All right, so Part A, here we go. Let's find my notes. Here we go, my example notes. So just as a reminder for Part A, and most of you guys have gotten a good chunk of it done. That was the one that you were developing the procedure and trying to figure out how much you needed to dilute the acid in order for the results to work. So you would have done this rough ratio, and then you would have also done the calculations to figure out what you needed to dilute it by. So that hopefully is ringing a bell from you guys. I think probably this was a bit of a mixture because I noticed some of you guys were holding off to do some of the work because you needed some more time to study. I was very mindful of that. So just be mindful if you haven't finished Part A, these are kind of the things that you need to be thinking about for that. For the achieved, it was actually quite easy to get because all I really needed to see for the achieved level was that you developed some sort of workable method and you realized that a dilution was required. Your dilution may not have been appropriate, but it made sense that you needed to do some sort of dilution. So some sort of workable plan, carrying out trials, realizing dilution is required, that sort of stuff. So when I was looking at that, oh, did I have that open twice? Yes, I do. So mainly what I found here is that people made a mistake in filling this out, is usually what got you to an achieved. Filling in this paragraph, though, was enough to get to a merit. So FYI for that. That's good news if you filled that in and it looks good. If you are aiming for excellence, you did need to explain your method. So you needed to explain why you had that proposed procedure. And I have some notes below on it. And I'll talk about this in a bit more detail later because it does tie into Part D again. So just keeping that in mind that that's there. So that was the marking for Part A. Be mindful also for... Aren't you zooming out now? For the other thing for the merit is that when you created your model for your titration, the value that you selected needed to be between 8 and 30 if you were aiming for merit. If you're aiming for excellence, it needed to be within 10 to 25. So just be mindful of whatever you selected here need to fit in those parameters. So you could have multiple that fit the conditions properly. So all the ones that I've ticked off are correct answers. The thing you have to know about science is that there's more than one right way to do something. Okay? So that was the Part A. So I'm just mindful, a lot of you guys, I don't think I've seen anyone that wrote their justification yet. So just be mindful that that's still something that's missing for a lot of you guys. For the Part B and C, a lot of them are tied together. Just so you guys aren't like freaking out and worrying, a lot of the Part A stuff is just showing me that you can do one step of the calculation. So for example, calculate the concentration of the sodium hydroxide or lactic acid. So just showing me that you understand the N equals C times V or N equals M divided by big M. So something along those lines. So that was for the achieve for Part B. For Part C, I'm looking for the if you can carry out a calculation, if you can collect data, and average that data as well. Cool. For the merit then, it was getting one of the two calculations properly, so Part B or Part C calculated correctly. You need to get both of them if you're aiming for the excellence. So just keep that in mind. You have basically two chances for the merit. The other thing that we're looking for the merit is that you have concordant data, so 0.3 that you average. If you're aiming for the achieved, then you can use non-concordant data. And the other thing is the average titrate volume needs to be within 0.4 of mine. The other thing is, for the achieved is that I need to see at least something concordant falling, like at least 3 falling that are within concordant values, but they may be like very wrong numbers compared to what I got. And then lastly, for the excellence, we just have to be consistent with our units and significant figures. In particular, I've noted which questions that I'm checking them for. So just be mindful, if it says on the question units and significant figures or 3 sig figs, then you need to make sure you have it for that question. The other ones, it doesn't really matter. Okay? Any questions about that? No? Just be mindful, part B and part C have very similar calculations. They're just in a slightly different order. For those that are studying part A, be mindful. I do have assessment style questions for you to practice, and the answers are online. For those studying part B and C, again, I have assessment style questions for C and B right here. And then there's also answers as well. If the answers are not there, they might be down here with the homework, answers and answers. So you have more than enough places to practice and check. Are we good so far? Questions, concerns, comments? And like I said, there's videos for everything, so that'll hopefully help you guys as well. Cool. All right, so that's what I wanted to cover, just the first thing, and then next thing I want to talk about is D. Cool. Oh, this is weird. Fix that. All right, I'll stop the recording because that's just a refresher, and then we'll start.